Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 623. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, Koudelka. All episode, all the time. But first, before diving into this PlayStation 1 survival horror RPG as we call it, Matt, do you have a favorite classic JRPG?
Classic. Probably, Final Fantasy, right?
I'm going with that is an acceptable answer. The Final Fantasy games turn out to be classic JRPGs. I think that's right. Is yours 7 still? You've
Uh,
gone through quite a Final Fantasy adventure.
yeah.
Not literally Final Fantasy
Considered,
adventure, but
considered I never completed 7. I think 7 has the most significant value to me, at a nostalgia and significance level. If we're saying completed though, probably 10.
hmm, 10 tracks for you. 7 tracks for you also. What else? Where have you ventured outside of the Final Fantasy realm? I'm curious because I don't know
I've
if I know
tried.
this.
I've tried to play me those Shin Megami Tensei games, and I still think they're very good. It's just I get to that first, maybe not the first boss fight per se, but I hit a brick wall in those games due to a boss fight, and it's very hard to
Yeah, they're tough.
come back to.
I wonder if you'd go do well with the older SMT games, like on the Super Famicom, the like ones that were first person dungeon crawlers, kind of like you saw in Persona 3. Like imagine that, but in an SMT game. That might.
Um, yeah, classic RPG is tough because there's not too many of those I have played. I go more the action route, and I probably don't
I
play a
agree.
lot of
Yeah.
RPGs until more recently than anything else.
What's your interest level in going back to something like a Dragon Quest?
It's like moderate because I just got through 6, Final Fantasy 6
Yeah.
that is, but like you see there's this word dragging that's in it that
Yeah.
I don't know, sometimes I don't know, I guess Final Fantasy is the free pass for some of that stuff, but I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
how I am with Zelda too. Where like, yeah, fantasy's not usually my go-to flavor, but there's like I can dance around some of the fantasy adjacent things. Um, I'll get a little weird and throw Earthbound because I would call Earthbound
Yes, I would.
classic JRPG.
I
I like
would.
that game a lot. I I'm like afraid to replay it though. That and Mother 3. It's been like a decade since I was gushing all over them all over the podcast. Probably more than that now at this point. And I've been afraid to go back to them because now they're all on. Well, I guess Mother 3's only in Japanese on Switch, but region free, you know. Um, yeah, but I'm afraid to go back. But you did that more recently. It still holds up, right?
Yeah, when I got my SNES Classic. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
right as I got it or after, but no, I played Earthbound. No, I fell in love with it. I think it's awesome.
Earthbound rules. Yeah, if you like the gameplay in that, you'd like Dragon Quest, but the setting, that's the difference. But that's not the game, nor the games we're talking about today. We're talking about Koudelka today, developed by Sacknoth, published by Infogrames here in the United States. Released on the PlayStation June 29th, 2000. The back of the box reads a gothic horror RPG set in the late 19th century. An epic tale of murder, mystery, and mayhem. A beautiful yet troubled woman named Koudelka who is summoned to unravel it all. Here's your hot bullet points on the back here, Matt. Breathtaking cinematic scenes and musical score. 3 fully customizable characters. Allocate bonus points to determine your character growth. Beautifully rendered 3D backgrounds. Combat evil using the Life Drinker, Sacknoth Blade, magic spells, and many more weapons. Koudelka. Rated mature. For animated blood and gore. I'm so stoked that we played Koudelka, both pre-playing it, during playing it, and post-playing it. You nominated Koudelka for the list. What did you know about it going into playing it?
I knew exactly what the battle system was. I forgot how what the steps were that got me to Koudelka, but kind of chasing that Parasite Eve, like it's horror RPG where it's like some turn. Well, this one's turn based, but like Parasite Eve was like very like I don't know, like Final Fantasy VII, where you had the
Yeah.
clock to wait while in battle, and you were a little moving around. So again, action RPG, but yeah, kind of chasing that thread because there's not a lot of horror RPGs out there. Um, I found this guy.
Do you know, did you find it like, were you looking for a horror RPG? Did you stumble on it on a random
I
video?
think I stumbled on it on a random video.
I still remember where I was when I first heard of Koudelka, and I have photographic evidence, not of the time, but it was this. So I guess I'll have to pull back here so the blur doesn't shake it away.
You're good.
But it's our good friends Electronic Gaming Monthly, June 2000, the month that this launched. Um, yeah, I was reading through this magazine as one does, saw this, and like this is just a striking image on its own. Just like these three big character portraits for a game I'd never heard of, really kind of like pulled me in. Um, I didn't know what it was, and then I checked it out, and yeah, dude, like the combat system was the first thing that stood out to me from playing it, and I stopped. I think this was on my season. It was definitely on my season 12 list. It might not have been on my season 13 short list. No, I don't see it here. But I've been looking at this game for a while thinking I want to play it. Maybe we should do it for the podcast, maybe not, I don't know. And then it didn't make the cut for me, but it did for you, and I'm thrilled because now we got to play it and it rules. Um, so we talked JRPGs a little bit. What about survival horror games on I guess any other JRPG stuff on PS1 for you? We did Parasite Eve, we did on the podcast. You've played a bit of two. I've played the tiniest bit of Dragon Quest 7 on PS1, but not enough to even
Yeah,
come close to scratching that game. Um, but yeah, JRPG wise on the thing, like I don't think there's a ton I've like finished. I've started Xenogears, I've started Wild Arms, I've started um Alundra, if that's a JRPG. I think that's more action than anything. It's more like a Zelda.
yeah.
Um
I'm more the lines of like, yep, know what that is. Yep, know what that is. Yep, know what that is, but never have touched it.
and there's so many. Like
Yes.
PS1 especially, I think just has yeah. I mean, we can say now at this point, Suikoden we are playing coming up later this year, so we've got that. But there's Chrono Cross, there's Grandia, Brave Fencer Musashi. Um, I mean, it's all of these like I know what they are, just like you mentioned. Like, yep, I recognize that. I know that one. Legend of Dragoon. The other Final Fantasies we didn't talk about, Tactics and Nine. Valkyrie Profile.
Oh, eight's on there too. Don't forget eight.
Yes, eight, 100%. Um, I've played a good bit of Front Mission 3, but I've not finished it. The Lunar Games, Legend of Legaia. I mean, like, there's a lot, but yeah, I just have not. I haven't gone all the way in. I guess these people classify Alundra as an RPG. Oh, I played Ark of the Lad. Never mind. All right, I got a little bit of cred here. Um, but then on the other side, you've got survival horror because this game is very much survival horror. Where do you fall on the PS1 survival horror?
I've come back around on some of that stuff. I haven't played all of it. I have most of a playthrough of a classic Resident Evil 2 on a Vita somewhere done. We have played Dino Crisis 2 earlier this month,
Yeah.
or not month, this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else I've played. I guess the Parasite Eves 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Two same way as Resident Evil 2. Funny enough, like deep in a save, just never completed it.
Yeah, I have so many of those, especially with the PS1 stuff of just like, yeah.
Yeah, it might stop there. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm thinking of, but a couple other things, not nothing crazy. Because I played more of the recent horror stuff, or kind of going past it a little bit, like Code Veronica
Yeah.
and whatnot.
What do you think it is about those genres and specific that hit the right way? Because we see a lot of games today, a lot of indie games that are mimicking PS1 style. There's a lot of people like aping that sort of low poly, real chunky texture mapping, character models, and stuff like that. And survival horror seems to be the thing that people go back to. What do you think it is about those things on PS1 that just fit better? Oh, Silent Hill also. That's another one where I've like got
Oh,
a good.
right. I haven't played a Silent Hill, but I know like two
Yeah.
pretty well at this point. Um, yeah. Oh, I guess the first Silent Hill. Silent Hill was PS2, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But still. But yeah, what do you think it is about this era and that genre that really like?
I mean, those games are. I mean, Koudelka, we'll get into it too, but like those games are naturally dark just because of what you were playing them on, a CRT and all that other stuff. I also think just like leaving things up to the imagination a little bit more. Now, like when you see a monster Resident Evil, you see its gory detail to every like bit of like slime that's covering its face. This is just like a block with usually like a blockish head with a texture mapping that you're
Yeah.
um I don't know. Also, I just think like emphasis, because you don't have that visual fidelity, like emphasis on the atmosphere as well. With like some of the like sound or lack of sound at times. I think that kind of stuff.
Last question before we dive into the game proper. What are you playing in 2000 when this comes out? June 2000, if you.
Same shit I usually say. Probably like a triple
Hey, you
play
Pikachu.
baseball 21 2001. Uh Madden 2001, Madden 2001 probably for sure. Yeah, that all that fun stuff. I'm trying to think like
There's
what I would be playing, but it's weird though because I don't think I got a lot of that stuff on release day. So like I can sit here and
no.
say like Final Fantasy 7. Don't know the
Right.
exact time frame when that happened.
Yeah, I'm peeking at reviews this month to see like literally what would have come out this month that I would have played and like
So Smackdown
Christmas.
around there, I think that's the only game I
Sure,
got fresh
probably.
those years.
Um, but
Actually, I
this
even
is
had the
my
first one. I had
like,
Know Your Role, the second one.
yeah, this is my N64 PS1 era, so I'm definitely Tony Hawking it up. Um, N64 would have been like Smash at this point. My brother and I played a lot of Smash 1. Um, it's a really good Rampage game on PS1 that we played a lot of. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff. I don't even know if something like Koudelka would. It obviously was not on my radar. Um,
I hadn't heard of this game. I've heard of Shadow Hearts like after the fact, but I have
yes, but
never
not
heard of Koudelka.
no, not at all. So what is Koudelka? We know it's a horror RPG, but what's the game setup? We're in 1898 Wales. Um, the game kind of opens with Koudelka. breaking and entering into this monastery, climbing like up the roof of this place. Do we know what drove her there? I don't remember.
It's explained. I don't remember that cutscene per se. I don't know if she says something about being drawn to
Mm,
the thing, but it that is very much a like a story beat of like why did Koudelka come here and her kind of discovering that because she's a medium. I don't
right.
remember what she says in that opening cutscene about if she says like I'm just drawn to this place for some reason.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Um, the manual says in Koudelka, you take control of the title character as she searches for items and confronts enemies in Nementon Abbey. The bulk of this action takes place in the field screen. But there's no real big setup there. And yeah, I don't think we learn it until like a little bit deeper into it.
I gotcha. I gotcha. On the other instruction page called Wikipedia. Uh,
Yeah.
Koudelka Lasant is drawn by a mysterious voice to the isolated Nementon, a former
Of
medieval
course.
monastery.
So she breaks into this place. She meets a guy who seems to be in pretty dire straits, I would say. And she fights off something that had attacked him. That's your introduction to the combat system. And then afterwards, she heals him, and they set off on this journey together. Um, how do you describe the atmosphere of Kudelka? Kind of like I think they do a good job of setting it up right from the start, and it sticks out throughout the duration of the game.
I mean, it very much is going for like that dark fantasy vibe, and I think just being like 1898 in a castle has a lot to do with that.
Yeah,
Especially like come we haven't mentioned this yet. This thing's 4 discs, by the way. Uh,
it is. Yeah,
by the time you get
and mostly I think because of the cutscenes.
for sure, there is
Yeah,
when you think of like Final Fantasy 7 being 3.
yeah. If that if you've played Final Fantasy VII, you know how many cutscenes are in there, and that was 3 discs. You know,
um,
because the game's not long. Like I think when you hear 4 discs, you're like,
oh
oh, this is
wolf.
like an 80-hour game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think so. Going back to the selection process for this season, I think I looked up to how long to beat before I knew the discount. And when I saw the
yeah,
discount, I was like, "Oh fuck, no, I screwed this up." And you're like, "No, no, no, no," because you had already started playing it. Um.
yeah,
Anyway, no, but like, yeah, but like Disc 3, when you're starting to run around that courtyard with all the statues and just yeah, that dark fantasy, and I don't think it really the horror thing is tough just because like there's not really like jump scares or it's just I think a dark atmosphere. But I think the true horror comes from like the things you are fighting.
I think so too. I think that the general like, I guess the other thing we should point out is I believe this game takes place on Halloween.
I believe it does. Yes.
So there's that's a big part of it. But this too is kind of like I don't know, like trying to think of a cartoon. Like you'd watch like there'd be a block of cartoons. Like okay, let's look at Cartoon Network. Let's say Dexter's Lab and Cow and Chicken and whatever other else was on there. But then you had Courage the Cowardly Dog, which was just sort of like kind of tinted, you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's not a I mean that show has its moments, but it wasn't necessarily like a full horror show where like this is a but it's like definitely like in that. And I think this is what I get from this. This I also get a lot of like gothic horror stuff from it, like very,
Yeah.
I think if you like the setting of Bloodborne, you like that whole aesthetic, I think this fits really well with that. It's that late 1800s Wales, man. If you're into all that cool Welsh architecture. I don't know, but because of that, I think you have this sort of just like dark raininess to everything that fits.
Yeah. Then kind of like once
Um,
you get going to you start to get into religious overtones, especially because you're one party member, pretty much a
yeah,
missionary, if not a priest altogether,
I think
right?
he's a priest. He's a
Yeah.
full, yeah. James O'Flaherty. So yeah, those are the three folks you saw me hold up a picture of if you're watching the video version of this, and the three folks on the cover of this game. It's the titular Koudelka. Iasant, I believe is her last name. And then we've got Edward Plunkett is the guy we find in the sort of like rooftop of the or whatever. He's in what would you call it? A loft? He's in the loft, bleeding out. Um, and then a little bit into the adventure, you meet James O'Flaherty, an Irish, obviously, uh, priest, and that's your main hook. Um, you have a couple other characters that pop up. We've got Ogden and Bessie Hartman. They're a loving couple who take care of the place, and they kind of give you a little bit of a scare early on. Charlotte Delota. We've got the antagonistic Alias, and everyone's fan favorite Roger Bacon. Uh, so yeah, we set up the story a bit. Koudelka's drawn there for some reason. I, how much do you want to spoil about the reason she's drawn there and kind of what we end up doing?
Um, I don't. I say we can go into it a little bit because her reason being there is also the reason James is hanging out there too.
Yeah, I guess like generally this place seems like there's some stuff going on there. There's something haunting the place. There's monsters drawn to it. Um, and there's just weird supernatural stuff. James was sent by the Vatican to investigate what's going on here. Um, and yeah, I guess I kind of want to mention the couple initially because they're kind of the first major thing I remember.
Yeah.
Ogden and Bessie Hartman, you kind of like as you're getting to know the way of the map and move your way through the I was gonna call it a castle, but it's not. Just like the mansion you're in. Um, you stumble into this room, and there's a couple that introduce themselves. They let you know they've been like overseeing the property forever. They've been there, blah blah blah. And like, did you pick up on it initially that Koudelka didn't eat, or did you?
I picked up on it.
Yeah, and I agreed because I was just like, I wouldn't eat any. I don't know where we are. I stumbled into this place that's seemingly
I
haunted.
was gonna say they
These people
they
could be
be in need and they're being offered a meal. Like,
something's not right here. But idiot Edward chows down. This is before you meet James. Um, and then they kind of go into the next room, and I think that's our first, not our first, but it is another opportunity to save the game. And it's so good because as they're talking, Koudelka's like, "Well, I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to be poisoned," and he's like, "Huh? What?" And then immediately he's sick, and yeah, bad stuff happening. So I kind of expected Ogden and Bessie to be quite the foes as we went on, but we learned a little bit more about them as we go on. We also, after we meet James, we get to the point where we run into the ghost, kind of haunting the place. Charlotte Delota. Am I saying that right?
uh, I am not the one to ask about that.
Delota, Delota. I don't know. Um, we learn that. I mean, we learn later on she's was a prisoner at the monastery, um, and she was. Do we go there?
Yeah.
She was beheaded at the monastery after being imprisoned on her ninth birthday. Happy birthday! And in the wake of that, she's now haunted the place. So we meet her kind of early on, and then we don't see her for a bit, but you end up collecting letters that free her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Or you don't, you free her another way.
you could do that too. Yeah, that's true. Um, I ended up kind of leaning on a guide a bit the further in I got, so it was
I found the letters organically.
So that's one thing I really liked about this game is sometimes, especially playing games for the podcast, time is a factor. I hit a point where I'm like, I'm meandering too much. I need to get some direction. And I was really relieved with Koudelka that I generally felt okay about fine. I did get lost. I did have a couple points where like I lost some time and had to restart a save or things like that. But I was generally like impressed with how able the world was to tell me kind of what was coming next and how easy it was to follow and get there. Whether it was an item, a puzzle solution, something like that, like I didn't need to look a lot up. It wasn't until the later part of the game where I was like peeking just for an outline of things. But I remember early on there was one puzzle, I forget which one, where I was like, I think you do this, but I'm gonna double check. And I looked it up and saw like, okay, no, I'm right. And I'm like, okay, cool, 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 cool. I I feel confident in playing this game without looking anything up, which worked out because I played like a good chunk of this part or this game on a plane. So I because of that, I was able to like I was kind of forced to be offline and not check in. And I was able to do pretty well with it. Um, what was your approach to wandering, keeping track of things? Were you taking notes as you played? What was your
I was just kind of playing. I was just kind of playing, and I feel like there might have been like a boss fight where I kind of hit a little bit, not a brick wall, but like I was struggling. That was like the first time I was like, all right, what's the hook here? Um, then yeah, and then I guess it wasn't like I followed it like hard or loose or whatever. Uh, but like I kind of had it there just in case. There was a couple puzzles. Some of the time, sometimes there's something you need to find something, but it's just so hidden in the background that is very tough to find. Like the walking sequence when you had to walk across those symbols and you had to
yeah,
do it in
okay.
a
Yeah.
set order. I found the first set, probably had a harder set to find, but for some reason I could not find the second set to tell me how to get the second half of where to go. And I ran by it like 5 times. I just never saw it. So like there's stuff like that where I was using a guide after I was getting stuck on a puzzle for a little bit. Um, Also, I think I used a puzzle for Koudelka's weight that one time because the math was
Mm.
not adding up at all.
You're talking about the one where
You unlock the
you
stairs to the
read the
fireplace.
yeah, okay, yeah. Because you read the note about
Yeah.
what's his face's weight, and yeah, um, yeah, and I think like so. Well, back to the first one. How much of that do you think is because of just the PS1? We're running on these like pre-rendered backgrounds
It could have been that
versus
because, like you, I was playing portably as well. So
yeah,
I may have lost something, on a smaller screen. Sure. Um, but yeah, no, I feel like I lose shit all the time in like these survival horror games. Like even like Code Veronica.
yeah.
It was like
It's so easy.
when I read like a guide and it's like, oh, there's like 2 herbs there. And I'm like, I must have ran right by them like 3 times, cause
Yeah,
but
I,
no. So I think it's just the nature of these games. If you're not just like carefully like going to each pile, each corner of the room, and smash an X and like doing it twice just in case. Um, yeah, that's just what's
when
gonna happen.
you mentioned Code Veronica and these games, and the one thing we didn't kind of hit yet is like movement itself. So the game is a it is survival horror like in that era. Like it feels like if I were going to sum this game up to somebody, I would say it's Resident Evil on PS1 with grid-based Parasite Eve combat. Is that close in terms of gameplay?
Um, I would even say in terms of gameplay is anything like Resident Evil besides the fixed cameras because Resident Evil is very good with
You're
survival
right.
horror with the resource management, and there's not a lot of that in this game. You might have to manage like the amount of listels or listel, whatever your MP
Yeah, yeah.
potions are, stuff like that. But like Yeah, there's ammo, but like I'm using a weapon most of the time anyway. And
Oh yeah, once I realized like how cumbersome it was to reload a gun and all that stuff, I really did not use guns in this game.
I started actually using them at the end because they're the only weapon you can level up successfully without it breaking.
But for the rest of it, the like I I'm trying to think of when I bailed on it. I don't know, but there were parts where it was just easier to shoot from afar. So I might kind of move a character backwards, have him swap weapons, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
shoot, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, that's a good point. Um, but I mean, I was very happy with movement because it is not. Wait, now I'm forgetting because I'm playing
It's
something else.
not
But
tank controls.
yes, but I kept thinking it was. I think.
Me too. That's why I
Okay.
laughed when you started bringing up the movement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
think I kept like even like in the middle of maybe it was like when I'd get out of battle, I think is when it would happen to me, where I would like go to move again and I'm like, oh, right, I don't
Yep.
need to do that.
Oh, you're just running
Um,
up, not forward. Okay.
yeah, which is a big relief. Um, combat wise, so we've got random battles that happen throughout the world, and then obviously boss battles that happen. Um, the random battles, the frequency feels high, but I I don't think it's unwelcomed. Did you ever get tired of fighting?
Yes, but I don't think the frequency is high. I think the battle system's slow.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Um, you jump in, you're usually pretty early on, you're fighting bugs. Later on, you're fighting more complex enemies like books and chairs,
And bigger bugs.
um, and bigger bugs. You kind of have the invisible grid. You and your party every turn can attack and move, and you can do them in either order, which is great. Um, you can also swap out attack for like uh,
Items, reload.
yeah,
Um,
magic.
yeah.
Um, and those will count as an action. But you kind of have like an attack or an action point and a move point. Uh,
Yeah,
not
because you can't
literally, but
double attack either. Like
right.
it's
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
attack and then you
The option
move.
to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but you can do them in either order, which is nice. So if you want to like hit something and run, you can, or if you want to move closer to be able to hit something, you can. Um, the the one thing that's tough with that one too, though, is um, again, like I would compare this to Parasite Eve. You put that right at the beginning too. Like we both kind of, I think, are aligned on that. It's not exactly the same because in Parasite Eve you have more of a sphere and you're attacking anything within the sphere. This you can attack anything within the map so long as your attack has range, right? Like if you have a handheld whatever, like a mace or a knife or something, like you can't stab something that's across the map in the corner, but if you have a fire spell, you could cast it across the corner. If you have a gun, you can shoot them across the corner. Um, the difference here though is there's sort of this dividing line or whatever, and like once an enemy reaches this certain point, you can't attack. I don't even think you can't attack on it, can you? I know you can't go backwards.
No, you can't be parallel.
Yeah.
You are always in front of the enemy. So as the enemy pushes up, like so that's how the game counters like everyone just being backliners.
Right.
Um, and it gets interesting too if you just have like one character is dedicated because you're thinking, oh, well, I can just dedicate a character to tanking, go all the way up. But if that person gets killed, the crazy part is if that enemy then advances and characters behind enemy lines, you can't revive them. You have to drive
Yeah.
the enemy back. Which there are moves to do
So
that, but it's not frequent.
it's not easy to do, and that was the first time I had to like fully bail on a thing and reload a save because I was like I just screwed myself over. Um, I had a couple moments where I was like, okay, I can just brute force my way through to the end. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I was doing okay with like leveling up, that everybody felt balanced, and I felt like, I feel like Edward was usually my tank, and I'd kind of use Koudelka as a support attack, and James, once we got him, was my healer for the most part with some offense. Um, but I definitely had a point where I knew I screwed up like in combat. With some of the like random encounters, it's not so bad. It's the boss fights where when you kind of botch one of those where you really gotta work to fix your mistake. Um,
So
Speaking of keeping your, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I kind of want to talk about this boss fights because this game does like the middle
Yeah,
finger or like the equivalent of like, oh, come get the treat that's underneath this basket. That's we're gonna trap you. Um, no, a lot of the mini so like there's a lot of like story driven boss fights and cinematics usually lead to those and whatnot, but a lot of the mini bosses are at the save points.
right,
So to unlock the save point, you have to beat a mini boss,
right.
which is like I think the opposite of
It's not the
every
other way
single
around.
game
Yeah,
ever.
everything else would have you hit the save point and then fight the boss. This was not that at all. Um, yeah, it's.
So how long did it take for you to realize that you can temporarily save?
Oh no, I learned that pretty quickly just because playing it on a PSP.
Okay.
Um,
Well, okay. I was it took me to like this 2, maybe this 3 to realize that.
oh dang, yeah, no, I think only because um I might have known it from the first time I tried playing this, but I think the fact that I was flying and like I hit a point where I was like, okay, if I've got to like quickly put everything in my bag and get up and leave, like what's saving look like in this game? And I started poking around, and that's I kind of discovered it that way. Um, I don't know that I would have realized it, naturally otherwise. But that helped, but it's still not like
I mean, the game very much uses it as a quick save because it only lets you like it doesn't map it to a regular save. It maps it to just temporary. And when
to
you
the
get
temp.
to an
Yeah,
actual save point, like you'll start going through the list of your saves and you'll see the one that says temporary and there's only one temporary. So, it's
yeah,
not even like a good save for you to fall back on. Like you're still having to save for those, if you want how many you end up rolling. Like four, if you want that 4 or 5 rotation, you're still gonna need to save like that.
I um I did get into a habit where I wouldn't say every room, but like every time I was getting into like a major new part of the thing, I'd quickly just like, especially if it was like a long hallway or something, like let me do a quick save real quick just to be sure. Um, Again, more real life stuff. Like I also was testing out a new battery and not sure if it was gonna like stand the test of time, literally. So I was like, let me make sure I'm staying active on saving. Um,
And then, well, at least I can't speak for all the cutscenes, but like at least for the save points, you kind of get an idea of what they begin to look like. And then they're all slightly different. They're not like a universal thing, but it's always like on these like platforms in front of like an idol or a place.
yeah,
It looks like of significance. But even when you enter the room, it's not even like a scene or anything. It's just like a line that comes up at the bottom. It's like Koudelka feels uneasy, or there's a strange feeling in this room, or something like that. So
yeah,
before you commit to go into these to the mini boss or whatnot, you can always like back out and go and find the last save point. It's been a while, or back out to the last area where you could do the temporary save and then come back in.
right.
Um,
Yeah, because you can't do those all over the place either. You're kind of like
yeah, it's like
specific
new
sections.
significant areas when they usually pop up.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's a good point. I completely forgot about the quick save element within this. Um, but that is a necessary survival tactic. Um, Character stats is the next thing I had made note of. Um, so you, much like an RPG, upgrade your character after. leveling up.
It's not even up. Like it's you do it.
Yeah,
There
it
is
is.
no guidance. It is straight up
No,
you.
you're manually assigning points across 4 different stat areas. And I say 4 because I don't know what it is about this game, but I could not see the right side of the stats. Not literally, I just mean like brain fog. Like, I don't know why, but the entirety of this game, I'd get done a thing, I'd level up, it would say which stats do you want to upgrade, and I just would only look at the stuff on the left. And then I'd be like, I'd spend the points and be like, idiot, there's like all those stats on the right.
How'd you? Did you even use magic at this game?
No, I would get
Oh,
there,
you
you know what
course
I mean?
corrected.
Like,
Okay, all right, okay.
I did, but like even after course correcting and getting into the habit of like, no, 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 no. I don't know why, but like it's just something about my eyes just kept going to the bottom left. Like there'd be a point where like I'd fully spec out about to confirm and I'm like, wait, no, idiot, no. I don't get it at all. You didn't have that problem?
No, like James. As soon as James came up, I was on that right side
Yeah.
raising the magic points and his magic ability while
And I like,
consciously
yeah,
while
I kept
consciously
him because I wanted him to be my healer. But
yeah,
even like my muscle memory, I don't know what it was. I would just hit a point where I'm like, upgrade strength, update or vitality, whatever else is in the left. I forget what it is. Strength, vitality, is
agility,
dexterity over there?
dexterity, and
Yeah, okay.
agility.
Yeah. Um yeah, and those right hand side stats, I don't know. I had to like fight myself to not do that. Um
I like the
but no,
I don't know, I forget what the counterbalance was on the physical side, but I really liked the system of not over compensating on magic defense, because if you do that, you can't heal. So
yeah.
the magic defense is a universal stat, which in other games typically it's like, oh, you heal and it's based on the magic power of who's casting the spell. And this game is not only based on the power of the person casting the spell, but if your magic defense is too high, you're going to negate any of the good healing. So you have to like play this weird balance of like, how prepared am I for magic defense? So that way I can actually like receive heal. So if you're a tank, or if you have like a tank character, it might not be the best idea to have their magic defense up. You just keep worrying about their vitality, and then your heal will out heal the vitality bar because their magic defense is so low. It's a
Do you feel
unique.
like you learned that naturally?
Oh no,
You think the game did a good job at like
I mean, I read the thing, the descriptions.
but I mean, I feel, do you feel like that was like easy to, sometimes in games where they have so many systems, things like that, like it can become overwhelming. Like I do feel like this game, to the point earlier, like you can just play this game. You don't need a guide. Like again, I think a guide helped for definitely determining an ending path, but also determining like some of the weirder things that I think it helps to peek at. But I do think like you can just hang out with this game. It's, as long as you're patient and whatever, you just have fun with it, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. No. I read that, and I think I realized like, oh man. James isn't really healing all that well when I go to heal, and I think I connected the dots on everything. Um. Yeah. No. It's No, but yeah, like you're in complete control of your character. But the thing is that's nice though, like leveling is fast. And I never had to like not fast. I felt like every third battle, if I
Yeah,
got to 3, one of my characters was leveling. And if not all 3 of them did, it was the next battle over, or someone had died in that battle and didn't get the experience points.
that's the only reason. Yeah, you're usually, it's pretty consistent. I
So
feel like enemies scale to a point where you're getting like appropriate XP to maintain that leveling system all throughout. Like it, yeah.
yeah, this is a game where like, I mean, I had the saves just to have them, but like this is one where you can course correct pretty easily if you just sync. Like I think in the same amount of time backtracking an hour because you screwed up something, I would just say just sink an hour, maybe 90 minutes battling and course correct
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
experience points because it would be
But
easy
yeah,
enough.
I ended up doing that. Like I played this on a trip, and like sure on the flight that's one thing, but there were other times like during the trip where it was like just hanging out, watching TV, doing whatever, and like in those moments it was like I'll grind a bit, and like you can just kind of run in circles and kick off like random battles and just keep practicing your skills. Like see if you can, I don't know, like see if this approach works better, see if this feels more fun, see if this person up front works better, that kind of stuff.
Or you just wanted to jam because both battle themes I think are incredible.
Did you get tired of them ever?
No,
I did, and I don't know why.
because the animations are slow. The battle themselves are slow. But jamming along, never.
Yeah, I've had that whistle stuck in my head for months now, but I don't know. I feel like it wasn't as timeless as like, because I also right before this I just beat Final Fantasy VII for the first time, and that stuff like I never got tired of the music in that, any of it. Which I know, but like this, like I did. I'm surprised that I did, but there were a couple moments where I was like, I just wish it like had,
Yeah,
I don't know.
to Joe's point, there's like a boss theme, the regular theme, and then I think the last boss fight has a
Yeah, that
remix
had a
of the
unique.
boss theme.
Yeah, but because maybe you're right. Maybe it's just the length of the battle. Because I think in some of those FF7 battles, like you can kind of breeze through them. So, well, some of the things in here are quickly, but it does take a while for things to
I mean,
play out.
just like it's the animation stuff, or maybe lack of, but like so like you cast, and then depend on your agility, you might not even get the cast out because this game's like weird in how like it handles magic, where you'll go to cast, but it doesn't necessarily happen that turn. It kind of like puts you back in order again.
Yeah,
Um, so then that happens. You might have like James goes and cast, Edward has a move, then it goes back to James casting. Where if James just would have did it the one time, like all in one, it would be dead. But then not only that, it's like it's the animation of like because he does like the sign of the cross thing, and then it cast, and then the enemy like fall over or do his dying animation, and the camera then like pans to this fixed angle watching the thing disappear, and then it cuts to like the entire party, and then the winning
yeah,
animation happens. It's just like if those
it's a lot.
two middle animations like don't happen, this game would feel a lot different, I think.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Like it's
true.
a minor annoyance, but it's like it's like my main complaint of Costume Quest 2. Like I got tired of battling because things just it was slow. Like it just felt like
Yeah, it wasn't just that.
busy work at that point.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, we hit on stats a little bit. There's also the other part that we haven't touched on in terms of like not stats maybe, but attributes. So there's different types of magic in addition to different types of weapons. Um, there's also different types of like what would you call it? Like a
Talking about
not
the
an
buffs.
attachment to a weapon. Yeah, like you could
Oh
have like a
yeah,
fire sword or a
or yeah,
whatever.
yeah, because you have the two accessories and then the clothing. So am I an
Yeah.
idiot? I
And
never found clothing or armor,
um
whatever you want to call it. I never found a
I feel like
piece.
I did. I feel like I did,
Okay.
but I what I remember mostly is rings
Mm-hmm.
and weapons. Maybe I didn't find clothing. I don't know. Now you have me second guessing. If you,
I mean, I'm convinced I'm just an idiot, but I never found a armor piece for any of these characters.
I
Because you have
don't
the two
know.
accessory slots. You have the weapon, the armor, and then the two accessory slots. And I had filled accessory slots on everyone and had a few things left over. even before getting the necessary pendant for the end.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. You might be right.
Um, but
But I don't
yeah,
know what would have dictated getting that stuff.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was cool to be able to like combine, but also like stack those effects. Like, you know, now I'm gonna full on just compare, but like it felt coming right off like the materia system. It was a little bit adjacent to that of like, okay, now like as soon as it kind of clicked, I was like, oh, I need to give well, especially depending on the boss fight, like it helped to
mhm.
stack certain characters with certain element types to then attack whoever you were up against. Um,
Yeah, and then
did you
even
have a preferred? Yeah.
like weapon.
Or like affinity? Did you feel like
No, I was just
you had a
kind of
default thing?
I was really looking for the numbers that would make persons whatever I
Yeah,
needed
yeah, yeah.
high. I wasn't really
Yeah.
paying attention to
Did you have a fallback like
elementals
if it
until
didn't?
I needed them. I don't know. I feel like I cast the
Or do
cast.
you generally in these games?
No, because I usually because I don't know because I kind of go into like my personal like Dark Souls from software mode where it's like if I run into a wall, I'll go in and I'll go in knowing I'm gonna lose, but like let's get as many turns in to see what the weakness is, and then
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah,
that
yeah.
third battle goes better. So I'm like willing to do that second battle for the science, and then kind of press forward. Then after that third battle, that's like for games like these, like for the podcast, that's when I don't have time for battles 4 and 5. I start bringing up that guy to see what I'm missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so no, not really. I was kind of like I kind of played to the, especially in a game like this where it's so easy, and like Koudelka and James and Edward all know the same spells. There's no tree to get like
Yeah,
the
no.
only thing that's weird and which I didn't realize until after I guess I casted the fire spell enough was that's how you level your spells is by using and abusing.
Using yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so there's that. But nah, I kind of see what the weakness is and then go from there.
I want to talk visuals and a little bit more on sound, but before we pivot to those, just gameplay wise, what do you like the most about this and what do you wish was a little bit better?
Um, gameplay, I would say I like that like the grid is like not this. There's like not these flanking things. It just felt like it doesn't feel like an after sight because of the things you mentioned earlier about like positioning and how you just can't like tank things or stay on the back line. Like there's some element of strategy to it, but I also like that there's like it's not this intense crazy thing of like going on the high ground or flank, getting a character beside and doing back attacks and then comboing off of that. All the grid. It's like this is as turn based, just regular turn based as a grid based turn based game can get. Which for me,
Yeah.
love that. Um, biggest fault though is I just think just get me in and out of the battles like 30 seconds quicker.
Mm. Yeah.
I like
I don't
honestly,
disagree with that.
I think that's my biggest gripe at this game, which is not even like a big gripe, but
No, but I think
it
that's the
screws
thing
up the
is like
pacing
these
though. It screws up the pacing, and then like there's one spot in disc 4 you could do it beforehand, but on disc 4 you're forced to go back to refill a glass.
yeah.
Um, and like if you don't know where you're going, it feels like such a slog because you go into the battle, and then like I said, it's like they're fast, but like they could be faster. And
Yes.
then, especially when you go into these areas where it's like all the beginner enemies again, because you end up going back that far, it's stuff you should be stomping, and you are. It's just like I said, like when James goes to
Takes
cast
time.
this spell, like there's another action, and then it's a double action if you're just moving. So like there's two
Yeah.
animation, like it. There's some unnecessary clutter. I wish sometimes you can just like pass. Like I wish the game would know just like to pass.
if it had that like, oh, you're high enough level where like this is an automatic win, here's the free XP, like that would have
Yeah,
been,
or like as soon as I hit cast and it's the right thing, it just auto calculates it.
yeah. I wonder how much of that gets fixed in Shadow Hearts, if at all. I don't know. I don't know what gameplay looks like in that one versus this one either. Um, Character designs. What do you think of the character models? And I guess that's like twofold, cutscenes and out of cutscenes. Because
Uh
I genuinely loved the like animation overall. I felt like the rigging on all the models was so cool. There were so many unique animations too. Like an early one I remember being like, "Ooh, that's creepy." Was like the mummy bride, the way that like she just moves or whatever. I also remember there's one disc 3 maybe where it's when Koudelka is separated from Edward and James and she goes to open a door and it's stuck. And like it's subtle, but like she kind of like punches the door and then like pulls on it and like kicks her leg in a way because she's mad that it wouldn't open. And like it was a, I don't think I'd seen that. It didn't stand out as something I'd seen before. And it like just one of those things where like there's just so much like attention to detail in all these little moments that I don't know. Those things really, really stood out all throughout. Like just really, really solid character animations, enemy animations as well. Like in battle, the way that things kind of just like moved across the field, crawled at you, jumped at you, all that stuff was well done.
yeah. No,
What'd you think?
I totally agree. I like the character designs of everyone. Not that like they were stereotypical, but like you could like at one glance in the cutscene, like you can tell James is the priest, Koudelka. Well, Koudelka's just like a it's like a medium. That's like the one that you probably couldn't see, but you can kind of tell like Edward's like this thief, treasure
Yeah,
hunter kind
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
yeah, um like yeah, so like at one glance you get all that without it being like very stereotypical. I like in terms of just like animations or whatever, not so much the animations but the dialogue between all three of them and like
Yeah.
the constant bickering because they're strangers is was like really good for a story that is like meh. I thought just the cutscenes themselves though were really good.
I think yeah, really, really. I like the way they looked. I like the like design of them,
Like they built
direction.
and they built their characters too. Like
They do. Yeah, you get to
character,
know who they are. Like they feel really real, and I think a lot of that too is shining through in the performances.
yeah,
Like credit to the actors because this is also I put this in my review, but like this is the what is a man era. You know what I mean? Where like some of the stuff, and this is the Jill Sandwich era. I guess a little bit after that, but like we're in that like kind of like, and it's not to say that like they never go over the top or they feel like a little, you know, extra, but I they felt real. I think overall, bottom line with this one.
yeah. And how many of
Um,
those RPGs at this point are being voiced over? Because none of the Final Fantasies have in this era. Parasite Eve doesn't have it. I don't think either Parasite Eve has it. To be honest with you, I can't remember
no,
two
right,
that.
yeah, because Parasite Eve just had text at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like yeah, no, this was wholly unique. Yeah. Um, no, really, really, really solid. And then yeah, sound effects too, like a lot of creepy stuff, like weird little bug sounds and doors, and I think all that stuff worked well. I did like the music. I found it a little bit repetitive, but I do think you have a good point that that could feel less, you know, had they changed up some of the battle stuff a bit. Um, Final thoughts on Kudelka? Anything we didn't hit?
This game has multiple endings.
Yes.
Not that I will get into them, but I like how the quote unquote bad ending is the canon ending.
Is the cat? Yeah, which I got the. I went for the good ending, knowing what it like. I looking at a guide, I was like, "Oh, I'll go for the good ending." But that's not the canonical ending. So, which ending did you go for the bad ending?
No, I fell into that naturally just because I lost the boss fight. I never did go back to earn the good ending. I got it. I got it right before traveling, and there was another main objective I wanted to get done before traveling that then became my immediate focus afterwards.
I get that.
Uh, so I never went back for the good ending, and I knew it was just one of those things where I just needed the grind because that last ball is hard and also like very
Yeah.
aggressive in the way like they do the grid thing. So it was just a matter of how much time do I want to put into grinding, min max, and all that fun stuff. But
Um, if you feel like you missed out and you don't want to play the game necessarily, you could visit one of its adaptations, either in the form of the drama CD or the manga. I'm sorry, there's a novel and there's a manga.
I didn't know about the
Um,
novel. I knew that the manga.
yeah, Koudelka, the Mansion's Scream is
Well, that plays into the.
the novelization of the main story written by Japanese author Nahoko Korekata. I do not know that that's been localized, but, you know.
I don't think I was going to pursue it anyway. I feel like if I'm going to read
Well,
anything, it's going to be the original Parasite book.
I have that. I have that and the movie, and I
I
still haven't
forgot there's
touched either of
a
them.
movie.
But
I keep forgetting there's a movie.
I forget if it might not even like it might be the movie might be the same thing as the game, where like it's not actually an adaptation; it's like a sequel using the same name. I forget. Um, let me see. Any other final notes I've got? I like the music box puzzle a lot. The first thing I took note of is that James sounds like Judge Reinhold in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So just in case you needed
Okay.
that.
All right. That's a callback I wasn't expecting.
But I really liked just yeah, cutscenes. I kept like jotting down like just kind of gushing over how much I liked those things. Just I miss this era of character models where like they're realistic, but they're not, like they're computer graphics and they're really, really cool computer graphics, but they're not like you wouldn't mistake it for being real. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
ever. But it just looks cool. I love this era, the design, character, art, etc. Um, yeah, I like the enemy design. The story was, yeah, to your point, like whatever. Some surprises along the way, like
I mean, I think there's
I
some
was
cool
surprised
moments,
by
but I'll forget how we got there.
for sure. I already did. Like there's, I forgot the setup for the beginning of the game. There's yeah bits I don't remember. Um, but yeah, it's a fun. I think the gameplay's fun. I think it's a good time. They should re-release this thing. Personally, I'd say. Let's rank this thing. What do you say?
Sure. What did it call the collection? Kuda Heart remix.
Oh, I think it would be.
Shadalka.
I think it'd be the Shadow Heart Saga: Legend of Koudelka.
That's good.
Hire me, SNK. Or I don't know who owns this now, but
Oh.
yeah,
Oh right. Yes and yeah.
Vince McMahon maybe.
No, he took money from SNK though.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, it's not even Vince McMahon anymore because he did bad things. Now it's the parent company. I think they're called CEO or something like that.
Triple H. I I don't think he owns it either.
No, he
Uh,
doesn't, but he does run WWE for the most part.
all right. I'm still kind of tapped in partially. Every week on the Free Cheese Podcast, we rank the video games we talk about you can follow along at thefreecheese.com/the list. Or if you're watching the video version, it's on the screen for you now. I think last week I asked you to go first and throw one out, so I'll kick us off.
What was the game? I don't remember.
Last week was Tokyo Extreme Racer 3.
I thought that would maybe help. I know I don't remember who went first.
Well, I'll throw it out. For me, I dropped this in at 44.
44.
Below Yearwalk, above Code Veronica X.
Okay, we're in the same ball club, but I think we have different opinions on the
Yes.
on Code Veronica here. And maybe Resident
I
Evil.
figured. Yeah.
I have it as the new. Is this? Let me make sure this is accurate on my side. Yes. All right. I have it accurate now. This is I have this as a new 57 between Deadly Premonition and Siphon Filter Logan Shadow.
Ooh, okay.
So ballpark. Funny though, I started at Code Veronica and went down, and I kept going down because I saw Dino Crisis, and then my floor was Deadly Premonition. But I think I could go up. I can go up. I can definitely go up. I was just like, this is definitely better than Deadly Premonition. I think it's better than most of the stuff we have underneath of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think I do like Dino Crisis more than this. I didn't look down at that point. I'd kind of climbed up from, I think I opened the list somewhere in like the Little Big Planet range down in the 90s, and I was like, no, we got to jump. And I maybe overshot. So let's.
Well, you want to jump up? I went underneath Resident Evil 5, but I'm kind of indifferent to that. I was kind of wondering your thoughts on that.
I like this more than 5, for sure. Because I think 5's good, but 5 to me is more like 5 something to play. Like Koudelka seems like an experience. Like 5 was good. I had a fun time playing it, but like there's something special about Koudelka, I think, to a different degree where like
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Do you want to put it above Tokyo? This is up to you. I'm riding and dying up into I guess 54 or 55.
I think I could put it above. Yeah. But I feel like I do like Dino Crisis 2 more than this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I move up from Deadly Premonition, you come down more than I move up, but if Dino Crisis 2 is the bar, new 54?
Yeah, I think that fits. I don't hate that. It's weird. It's been a while since we've had one of those where it was like right in line with the one the week before, but it fits, man. Really, really stellar video game though. I had a great time with Koudelka. And you can too. Solid. Well, next week we are gonna bring this god awful summer to a close with part 3 in our look at Animal Crossing this year. Yeah, we'll talk about summer spent with Animal Crossing, make some plans for the fall in Animal Crossing, and we'll start teasing some of the games you can expect to be hitting the podcast over the next 13 weeks. So come back for that one next Monday. Also, I think I'm not mistaken. I got to double check. But I think if you're listening to this the week that it drops, yes, we've got what I like to call a video game stream coming up in just 6 days. So next Sunday, August 24th is currently tentatively scheduled for a Super Nintendo video game. So come back next week. Hang out with us Sunday night for that. And then Monday morning, we'll be back with Animal Crossing Part 3. Until then, thank you, Matt. Thank you for hanging out with us. Bye.